The U is back. Well, I guess that's been said before, maybe a million times in the last 20 years, but good win for the Canes. Best win in a long time. We will rate the win in just a second. Voice of College Football here, breaking down Miami's 48-33 romp of Texas A&M. Yes, a romp when all was said and done, as Miami pulled away and was the much, much better team. Didn't blow them away. The game was in doubt with about 3 minutes left, but they were the much better team, proven on offense, defense, and not necessarily special teams, though. Although there was a long kickoff return for the Canes. Welcome in, hit the like button, do all those right things to keep us moving along right here at the Voice of College Football. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your contribution. In the first half, Miami botched a couple special teams plays that led directly to Texas A&M points in the first touchdown of the game, as A&M led 7-0, and it was 17-14 A&M late in the second quarter, even though Tyler Van Dyke threw for 235 yards in the first half and 3 touchdowns. TVD was back to his 2021 form, hitting on 3 touchdowns in the first half and going mostly to his safety blanket. His roommate kind of goes together. Xavier Restrepo, 6 catches for $126. Coming out in the second half after TVD had led a very quick and very impressive touchdown drive at the end of the first half, right down the field. And we're talking beautiful NFL throws, one right over the DB on the right sideline, long throw from one side to the next, right over the DB, just picture perfect throwing from TVD, led to a touchdown right before the half, 21-17 Canes at the break. A&M came out, kicked a field goal, Miami goes back to work. And the field goal by A&M was actually more impressive in regards to Miami holding Texas A&M outside the end zone when they were inside the 5-yard line, and then immediately the backbreaker, what proved to be the backbreaker, even though the game was in doubt and Texas A&M could have come back and won, the play that switched it was A&M within 1 point, 21-20, early third quarter. Brashard Smith, after all those special teams blunders, the block punt, the muffed punt, goes 98 yards for a touchdown. And we've got a 28-20 ball game, and Miami never looked back. Connor Weigman threw the first interception of his career, and until we looked at the replay, it looked like a badly thrown football because it was right in the lap of All-America safety Cam Kinchins. But the receiver, Anais Smith, fell down. Connor Weigman, with 171 pass attempts in college football before throwing his first pick, and it was not his fault in any such way. But this extended the lead for Miami. They get a field goal on that drive as Texas A&M's defense held on this series. But the very next series for Texas A&M, they're moving the football. They're out past midfield, and Jaden Davis put a hit on Amari Daniels that forced a fumble. The ball got kicked a zillion yards downfield. Cam Kinchins jumped on it, and Miami was back in business. The keys to the game was that Miami stopped making mistakes. Miami's offensive line was remarkable in pass protection, and that afforded Tyler Van Dyke with the time to carve up this defense. Again, 235 yards just in the first half for TVD with 3 touchdown passes, and TVD finished at 374 passing, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Matt Lee, the incoming transfer at center, All-American Conference player, with UCF. He's a captain, and his transfer to Miami was much heralded by people that know, and we got to see why today. The pass protection, again, was remarkable. He's a leader along the offensive line, and that is a tremendous pickup, one of the biggest ones in college football, especially if Miami's able to continue this momentum and go forward, because between TVD being healthy, Matt Lee along the offensive line, Francisco Mauanoa, the prized freshman, and then the play calling, the offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson, taking over for Josh Gaddis. What a change that's made. coming in from Houston. Remarkable job by Shannon Dawson. It looks like, and it was mentioned by Jesse Palmer during the broadcast, almost looked like Steve Sarkisian calling the plays with Devontae Smith and company with all the motion. The last touchdown thrown out into the left flat with all the motion and misdirection was a thing of beauty. So Shannon Dawson well played on this day. Noah Thomas scored a touchdown for Texas A&M on a 4th and goal, so it looked like Miami was going to wrap it up right there. They had held on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down inside the 10. Then Connor Weigman found Noah Thompson for the touchdown. Weigman, highly impressive on this one. I know he threw 2 picks. One was in desperation at the end of the game. The other one, as noted, not his fault. Weigman had to carry the offense. 31 of 53 for 336. Notice the high pass attempts. The yardage, 336 is a lot, but not in relation to the pass attempts. So Miami did a nice job tackling in space. They really did. And after that touchdown, though, A&M was within 41-33 at that point. Then came the dagger. So A&M gets within 41-33. There's about 5 minutes left, plenty of time to get a stop, get the ball back, go downfield. But Jacoby George scored his 3rd touchdown of the game as Tyler Van Dyke threw a beautiful ball. George got separation from the DB. It was one of those deals where he didn't have much room, but TVD could read it to see he's just about to separate. He got that nudge, that push off that's legal. Then he was able to separate. And then it was a Keystone Cops situation with the Aggie secondary trying to tackle Jacoby George. They bounced off each other, and boom, he was gone for the long touchdown on a 3rd and 8 play. So A&M was that close to getting the ball back, and we would have had some real drama, but that closed it down at 48-33. Even then, Weigman got A&M down to the goal line with 2 minutes left to play. Gets the touchdown there, a possible onside kick, but it was not to be, and the Miami defense held again, and Takori Couch sealed it with the interception in front of Evan Stewart, who had a huge day statistically for Texas A&M, but the Miami defense much better than the 48-33 margin would indicate. One sobering note to this game. All-America safety Cam Kinchins carted off the field with less than 2 minutes left in the game. Our thoughts, and much more importantly than that, prayers going out. So if you're a praying person, pray for Cam Kinchins. We certainly will here at the Voice of College Football. For Miami going forward, are they back? Okay. Tyler Van Dyke looks like 2021. The offensive line was exceptional today against a very talented Texas A&M defensive line. This was an interesting game to see. Okay, 2 extremely underachieving, disappointing teams from last season at both 5-7. Now, Texas A&M's 5-7 versus Miami's last year were night and day. Texas A&M played close with really good teams. They beat LSU. They were a much better 5-7 than Miami's 5-7 was. Unbelievably deplorable, awful. 8 turnovers against Duke, blown out by Middle Tennessee, didn't beat a good team the entire season. Best win was against Georgia Tech. Awful performance out of Miami last year. Well, they come into this season, they do what you're supposed to do as a high level. Well, they could be a high level program. That remains to be seen. They haven't been one for the most part for 20 years, but that's what a high level ACC team should do to a Miami of Ohio, win by 5 touchdowns. Then they turn around and they beat a very talented team, but Texas A&M obviously still has issues. Is Miami back? That remains to be seen. I picked Miami to go 8-4. I think this performance very much puts them on track in that direction. They got Bethune-Cookman coming up in Temple, so they should be a solid 4-0 before they've got Georgia Tech to open up ACC play. And for Texas A&M, they got to get their acts together. Bobby Petrino and company. Well, of course, Jimbo Fisher's the guy that's running it. Petrino, he's got to find a running game. And, of course, the defense got torn to shreds in this one. So Louisiana Monroe's next for A&M. Then they prepare for Auburn. Miami gets a win over Texas A&M in the Disappointment Bowl, but maybe the days of disappointment are over for Mario Cristobal and the Canes. This is their biggest win. Well, it's their best win in terms of defeating a decent team, a good team, since NC State and Pitt winning those games in 2021. In terms of the magnitude of the win, well, we shall see. It depends. If they implode like previous years, then it doesn't matter. If they carry this through and this becomes the turning point, then it's the biggest win probably since 2017, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. Your thoughts on the Canes down below. Remember that we will be here as we are every Saturday night after the primetime games, about 11:30 Eastern time, to take your calls and wrap up the big college football weekend right here at the Voice of College Football.